Edition Community Update, Veteran Services and Benefits. This forum is part 8 and an addition to the Foundation's Time for Change 2020 series. Our goal is to have productive discussions during this Community Update for Veteran Services and Benefits session that result in proactive suggestions, ideas, and recommendations to enhance the experience for active duty military, veterans, spouses, and families of veterans. This event is a collaboration between government, business, and community leaders and veteran service organizations. We strive to bring as many different perspectives to the table to ensure that we are serving our veteran community at the highest level. At the HeroZona Foundation, our mission is to create and empower heroes in our communities. We're here today at the beautiful Embassy Suites by Hilton Phoenix, Tempe. We want to thank Ted Trimbath, General Manager of the Embassy Suites, and his team for hosting us today. Welcome to all of you online, tuning in to our live stream from across the country, either live or by rebroadcast. I'm Ron Williams, President of the HeroZona Foundation, U.S. Air Force Desert Storm Era veteran. I'm honored to serve as Master of Ceremonies for this important forum today. Now, out of an abundance of caution for concerns and safety of our foreign participants and the rising COVID numbers in our country, the invitation for in-person attendance was greatly restricted to participants, sponsors, and a few VIP guests. This is our 8th forum this year during a pandemic, and it's always safety first. Whether it's Arizona professional sports team and top executives, police chiefs and elected officials, or the faith and youth and other community leaders, it's always safety first. So thank you for your understanding for those of you that wanted to attend but weren't allowed to our very limited in-person restrictions. We certainly want to thank our respected panelists for joining us for this important forum. We will introduce them all shortly. We're honored to have a big supporter of the HeroZona Foundation here today to moderate our distinguished panel. Please give a quick welcome for Glenn Hammer, President and CEO of the Arizona Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Thank you, Glenn, for being here. I certainly want to thank everyone who supports the HeroZona Foundation and the work we do in Arizona and across the country. A special thanks to today's sponsors and supporters. First, the Arizona Department of Veteran Services, represented today by its Director, retired U.S. Air Force Colonel Wanda Wright, Veteran Engagement Transition and Retention Network, the Embassy Suites by Hilton Phoenix Tempe, represented today by its General Manager, Ted Trimbath, Vitania Brain Performance Centers, represented by Michael Southworth, and he's also here with the CEO of Heal the Hero, Lou Swartz. And just a quick word about Heal the Hero and Vitania, the program. I want to, on behalf of veterans across the country, want to say thank you to Vitania for the work that they're doing with brain performance. We have several members here today in our audience that are on the program, including myself. And I will tell you from a personal standpoint, I was experiencing some vertigo and some other brain issues, and I got an opportunity to participate in the program. And after 4.5 months of vertigo, in 2.5 weeks, vertigo was gone. So thank you, Vitania, for all that you do. I also want to thank the Travis L. Williams American Legion Post 65, represented today by Commander Jarvis Reddick and SAL Commander Dennis Prince. And also 6th, Evolve Public Relations and Marketing, represented by Ivana Morales and Jennifer Kaplan, one of the top PR firms in the United States. Also, thank you to our production partners, SWAT HD Productions, represented by Steve Wargo, and Corporate Presentation Network, represented by Eric Friedman. And last but not least, the HeroZona Foundation. We're honored to have our founders here with us today, Alan A.P. Powell, Chairman of AP and Associates and Strategic Partners, and Aaron Bear, CEO of Aaron Bear and Company. Certainly want to thank our Foundation Advisory Board members, represented by those supporting this forum today. Advisory Board members Heath McCarter, Dennis Prince, Rashandra Carnes, Matt O'Brien, and myself, Ron Williams. Let's please give our sponsors and supporters a big round of applause. Before we open our program, bear with us for a minute. We have some important housekeeping to take care of. If I can get our founders up here, Alan A.P. Powell and Corey Woods. Mayor, could you join us as well? Can we also have Mayor Lane, Chief Rod Bell, and Jack Sellers? Just come stand right here in front of us here real quick. Mayor Lane, Chief Rod Bell, and Jack Sellers. These three gentlemen have been instrumental in the success of our 2020 Bridge Forum series. We could not let this year end without properly thanking them and recognizing them for their tremendous support. The first gentleman I'd like to recognize is the Honorable Scottsdale Mayor, Jim Lane. The HeroZona Foundation Bridge Builder Leading by Example Award 2020 is presented to the City of Scottsdale Mayor W.J. Jim Lane. Did you want to say a few words, Corey?
So I just wanted to thank Mayor Lane for all of his work, his 12 years of service as mayor of the city of Scottsdale. He and I have had a very good friendship since the time I was elected back in 2008 to the city council, and I've seen Scottsdale just continue to grow and flourish under his leadership. Had an opportunity to have lunch with him last week and just continue to bounce some ideas off of him, and I'm looking forward to continue to talking with him even when he's no longer mayor of Scottsdale, just so I can continue to get wisdom in my new role as mayor and how challenging of a job this is. So I just wanted to say to Mayor Lane, thank you for all your service and stewardship of Scottsdale, and also thank you to all your support of HeroZona and the Bridge Forum.
Thank you, Mayor Lane. The second gentleman we'd like to recognize is the Police Chief of Scottsdale, Alan Rodbell. This HeroZona Foundation Bridge Forum Leading by Example Award 2020 is presented to Chief of City of Scottsdale Police Chief Alan G. Rodbell. Thank you and congratulations, sir.
Just want to say, Chief, we're going to miss you. Thank you for your service. 45 years of doing anything is a long time. So it's well-deserved. Between you and Mary Lane together, that's my age a little bit. So I just want to thank you for everything you've done. You've been a great friend, great partner, and you lead by example always. So what better person to have this award than you? Thank you, sir.
And the final gentleman we'd like to recognize is Maricopa County Supervisor Jack Sellers. This HeroZona Foundation Bridge Forum Bridge Builder Leading by Example Award 2020 is presented to Maricopa County Supervisor and Vice Chairman, District 1, Jack Sellers. Thank you and congratulations to all of our Bridge Builder honorees. And AP is going to say a few words.
Just want to also say thank you, Supervisor. Since you got informed with the bridge, you got perfect attendance. You've been to all 8 of them in the 2020 series. So I just want to say you thank you. We're going to miss you. Thank you for all you do. We'll still be in touch with you. Whatever we can do to help you, feel free to reach out to us. Thank you, sir.
Want to get a quick photo? Bear, are you on one side? AP, can you get on the other side? Big group photo? Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. We appreciate all you've done and your commitment to our programs. Now, let's get to our program. To honor our program, open up our program, it is my distinct pleasure to bring to the podium the humanitarian and visionary behind today's forum. Alan A.P. Powell served in the United States Army during the Gulf War under Operation Desert Storm. He is chairman and CEO of AP & Associates, LLC, that he founded in 2004. AP has been recognized for his community service and giving back to the Phoenix community with the Corporate Choice Award from the Black Chamber of Arizona, the Arizona Dr. Martin Luther King Living the Dream Award, the Edward M. Kennedy Community Service Award from the American Association for Access and Equity and Diversity, the ABC 15 Salutes Arizona Veterans Award, and the Most Influential Man in the Valley Award. He was the HeroZona Grand Marshal for the 21st Annual Phoenix Veterans Day Parade and received the John S. McClain Inspirational Leadership Maverick Award. He's a true servant leader, and with Aaron Bear, they co-founded the HeroZona Foundation. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Alan A.P. Powell.
I just want to thank everybody for taking time today, one day before Veterans Day. You know, all these people have a very, very busy schedule. I want to also thank Colonel and Admiral Pittman for their support to help build the HeroZona Foundation. This is the third veteran edition of the Bridge Forum. Colonel and I came up with this idea along with Chief Rob Bell years ago, and Colonel took it and ran with it. And we're here today. But one of the things that Colonel and I talked about, there's so much information that needs to be shared with our veterans during trying times and COVID-19. So Colonel and I thought this would be the proper time to do something like this to make sure we spread the word and get the word out. I also want to thank the mayor of Tempe, Corey Woods, for stepping up too. He houses about 800 veterans down the street at ASU. He was all supportive of it, and you heard from some of his colleagues who are actually a veteran that's on this panel. But just want to say thanks again for everybody's support. I want to also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Senator McCain, who actually helped us get this off the ground. Also, rest in peace. But for everybody, let's have a great Veterans Day. God continue to bless you, and God continue to bless the United States of America.
Always have to adjust the microphone after this big guy. Thank you, AP. Next on our agenda, we will have our invocation, followed by the singing of the national anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance. As you stand for the singing of the national anthem, please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Now for our invocation, please join me in welcoming to the podium VA Chaplain Daniel Butler. Let's welcome him.
Actually, I love all these pictures up here. Someday they're going to say, who was that masked man? I think this is very fitting that we have this opportunity today before Veterans Day. As an Army veteran myself, retired chaplain, I find it very moving that we have a community that seeks to work on behalf of our veterans. Let us bow in prayer. Our God and Shepherd, we thank you for your faithful and consistent love. We gather today with the goal of assisting those who have served our great nation. We have many opportunities to assist the broken, walk beside those who stumble, offer direction to those who are lost, and to welcome home those who have felt detached and alone. Bless all who are attending, and let their vision and leadership encourage and enhance a cohesive goal of truly benefiting the veteran around us. Bless the presenters, give them clarity of thought and precision. May the united focus of all promote a common objective of meeting the needs of our veterans. I ask God that you approve of this day, and all the people, that we may leave with fresh ideas, new zeal for mission, strength for the task. We ask that you bless the United States. We ask that you bless this state. This is our humble prayer to you, O God. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. Please stand. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you. Join me in pledge of allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. All right. Now I get the great pleasure to introduce our first special guest speaker. The Honorable Corey Woods was elected mayor of the city of Tempe in March 2020. He has served as a council member for the city of Tempe from July 2008 to July 2016. Corey was instrumental in guiding city policy that led to Tempe's perfect score in the Human Rights Campaign Municipal Equality Index. Corey graduated from the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor in April 2000 with a BA in political science and a minor in African American studies. After college, he was a teaching assistant at ASU for 3 years. In May 2018, Corey earned a Master of Arts in Educational Policy from ASU's Mary Lou Fulton's College of Education. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable Corey Woods.
Well, thank you so much, Ron. I wanted to first of all thank Ron for doing all the MC work. He's done such an exceptional job. And Ron, I wish I could sing as well as you, because if I sang, this whole room would clear out. So I'm not going to try to do that today. I also wanted to thank Alan Powell and Aaron Baer for all their work with HeroZona. I've only been mayor a little over 4 months, and we've already had 2 bridge forums here in the city of Tempe. So I just really appreciate their commitment and their faith in our city and all the great work that we do. I also wanted to give a special shout out to my colleague, Councilmember Robert Arredondo-Savage, who's an Army veteran and the only veteran I've served with on council. But she has really brought so many important issues to light in terms of working to start a Veterans Committee during my time on council with her. And then she was instrumental in getting the Valor on 8th Affordable Housing Complex built over at right down the street from Four Peaks on 8th Street. Because if I say 8th Street out of Tempe, no one knows. But if I say Four Peaks and make a beer reference, people know what I'm talking about. Right down the street, 50 units of veteran housing for women and their families. I mean, really a completely earth-shattering project that we could only do right here in the city of Tempe. So I wanted to thank her for her service and thank you her for being here today. But just thank you everyone here. You know, celebrating Veterans Day is such an important thing. My brother's actually an Operation Iraqi Freedom veteran, which is how I got involved in a lot of these issues, and just wanted to make sure that I could do everything to support our men and women who've served this country so honorably in uniform. So just seeing everyone out here this morning, and for all the folks watching online, just wanted to say thank you very much for supporting the Bridge Forum, thank you for supporting HeroZona, and just thank you for supporting all of our veterans and all of our men and women in uniform. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Our next guest speaker got a little diverted, and if he makes it and shows up with us, we'll bring him to the podium, Congressman Greg Stanton. So we will move forward to our next special guest speaker, Maricopa County Supervisor for District 1. Jack Sellers joined the Board of Supervisors in February 13, 2019. Mr. Sellers previously served 2 terms on the Chandler City Council and continues to serve as chairman of the Arizona State Transportation Board. He also has a position on the GPEC International Leadership Council, the Arizona-Mexico Commission, and the Arizona Sister Cities. Please join me in welcoming Supervisor Jack Sellers.
Thank you so much. As you know, I really appreciate these events, and I always learn from them. I think what AP and Ron are doing is so important for what we have going on in our communities today, and I really encourage them to continue this effort. We're here today to discuss veterans, and Maricopa County is doing so many different things that I prepared some notes, so I'm going to do some reading here so that I don't leave anything out. How do we assist veterans with securing happy and productive lives once they leave military service? I'm proud to be able to say that I've had several career military people in my family, and in fact, my son-in-law is a medical tech in the Navy in Pensacola, and he was sent to New York City for 3 weeks to assist with the COVID outbreak there when it was at its peak. I've worked with many veterans during my career. We understand the sacrifices they've made and owe them our support once they return to civilian life. At the county, we take that responsibility very seriously. We have approximately 1,330 veterans working for the county today, not to mention 314 currently serving in the reserves and National Guard. That's more than 10% of our total workforce. At the county, we've implemented a variety of programs to help veterans in as many areas as we can. Let me just take a moment to point out some of the things we put in place. Housing in Maricopa County is expensive, and it's important that we make sure our veterans have an opportunity to acquire a place to call home. So veterans are given preferences from the Housing Authority of Maricopa County when acquiring a home. We also assist with the down payments through our Home in 5 Advantage program, which can pay up to 8% of the purchase price of a home for a down payment. We've also been able to help numerous veterans in the county through our Service Disabled Veterans Program. This program funds home modifications that enhance accessibility, including widening doors or hallways, lowering countertops, adding exterior ramps, and installing grab bars or roll-in showers in bathrooms. This program helps our veterans live independently at home. Another program that I think is so important is the Innovative Veterans Court. This is an interagency collaborative effort focused on veterans in the criminal justice system. The court is a problem-solving court that works in conjunction with prosecutors, defense attorneys, veteran mentors, and the Veterans Administration to give each participant the best chance of getting back on track as healthy, productive veteran and Maricopa County citizens. Hearings are guided by principles of working together to provide the necessary services to tackle complex issues while adhering to a court process that addresses recovery, resiliency, and rehabilitation. This program has allowed thousands of veterans to resolve their problems in meaningful ways, which benefits all of us. So I think I'll wrap up by talking a little about how we help our veterans find employment. I've already mentioned that we have over 1,300 veterans working for Maricopa County. All veteran applicants are given extra points during the evaluation process. And I know that Sheriff Penzone has been actively recruiting veterans since he took office. Also, our Human Services Department works closely with a variety of organizations that focus solely on finding employment for prior service members. The Department of Defense Skill Bridge allows veterans to have real hands-on experience through specific industry training, apprenticeships, and internships. We also work closely with VA and provide support in all stages of a job search, from returning to work with a service-connected disability to getting more training for new job opportunities to starting or growing your own business. Whatever the goal is, we're there to help. Thank you again for letting me speak today. It's truly an honor to be invited to these events, and I hope to be able to continue in the future. Tomorrow is Veterans Day, and I hope we all take a moment to think about the sacrifices others have made for us. Thank you again for allowing me to be here today.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Sellers. Before we bring up our next speaker, I'd like to just acknowledge we do have the Arizona State Commissioner with the American Legion, Ken Queen, in the audience with us, as well as Angel Juarez, the State Adjutant. So thank you, gentlemen, for being here with us. Thank you so much. They oversee 51,000 vets in Arizona, so I want to thank them for their service and thank them for their attendance. Next, our next guest speaker is Congressman Greg Stanton. I've personally known Greg since his days on the Phoenix City Council, the Arizona Attorney General's office, Mayor of the City of Phoenix, and now Congressman from Arizona's 9th Congressional District. His district includes most of southern Phoenix, as well as all of Tempe and portions of Scottsdale, Mesa, and Chandler. Greg is married to his wife, Nicole. They have 2 children, a daughter, Violet, and a son, Trevor. Please join me in welcoming and congratulations on your re-election, sir. Congressman Greg Stanton, please.
All right, thank you, Ron, very much. It's good to be back with HeroZona, another bridge forum. First, I should say, as the supervisor just said, to all veterans out there, first off, thanks for your service and happy early Veterans Day. Unfortunately, we don't get to have all of the fun activities that we've had in times past because of COVID, but we will get back at it because this town loves to celebrate our veterans, and we strive to be the #1 veteran-friendly community and state in the entire United States of America. We have an outstanding panel here, so I won't take up too much of your time other than to say that, yes, we have just gotten through a difficult election, a divisive time in the United States of America. We have some incredibly challenging issues, and the voters have spoken, and they've shown us we're still a divided nation. You know, the Democrats in the House that I serve in, we lost a few members. The Senate is sort of undecided right now. We don't know which, there's a special election in Georgia, so we don't know which way it's going to go. We did elect President-elect Joe Biden, but we are going to have divided government. That means for government to work, we're going to have to come together in a bipartisan way. And a lot of people across the country wonder whether that's possible. Sometimes I wonder whether that's possible. But I hope and pray that of all the issues that we can come together on in a bipartisan way, it's supporting our veterans. And job one, we're flying back to Washington next week. Job one is to pass the NDAA, which is the National Defense Authorization Act. It's a good bill, and I want to work with this current White House to get the bill done and signed by the current White House. It does include a 3% pay raise for our service women and men, the highest pay raise in NDAA history. Some of the other issues that our current members as well as our veterans are facing. Can we please come together in a bipartisan way on the issue of veteran suicide? The tragedy in America, the suicide rate is so tragically high. Can we finally provide the support, the care, the mental health treatment, the family treatment, all the things that are needed to make sure that suicide prevention is a highest priority for our veterans in our country. The tragedy of veteran homelessness, I'm sure that was talked about already. I'm supporting a bill that will significantly increase the number of vouchers so that we can finally end the scourge of veteran homelessness, which is so significantly higher than the overall homelessness rate. PTSD, we're learning so much more about PTSD and the impacts, long-term impacts of PTSD. That's an area, a real opportunity of bipartisan support. Jack Sellers just talked about employment. What more can the federal government do to provide support for our businesses that go the extra mile? Probably some of the supporters of today's forum that go the extra mile to hire our veterans. Can we give them additional tax benefits to do so? That's an area where I think we can really come together in a bipartisan way. What about the unique needs of our women veterans? It's a great thing that so many more women are joining the services, and now we have more and more women entering the ranks of veterans and joining some of the veteran service organizations. Can we make sure that our VA system in particular is set up in a way that best supports our women veterans and women veterans' health care and the unique needs of women veterans. And then finally, COVID-19. The impact on our veterans and veteran businesses is as bad as it is anywhere else, but we owe a special benefit, special care for our veterans and veteran-owned businesses and employees during COVID-19. So how do we make sure that veteran-owned businesses can access PPP easily? How do we ensure that our veterans who unfortunately get this terrible virus get the immediate care that they need through the VA system or the alternative systems that are offered as well? That's going to take support, resources, and coming together in a bipartisan way. So it's a long agenda of things that we need to do, but I really think that members of both parties coming together to support our veterans can be a model of how we can act in a bipartisan way and solve so many of the other issues that our nation are facing. So once again, our veterans can be leaders and show the way. And I just want to say on a personal note, thank you to AP and the whole crew here at HeroZona, coming back and doing a veteran event. That's getting back to the old days. I've been working with this organization from day one, and this organization started out as a veteran service organization, matching veterans with employers, trying to do the heavy lifting if regard to support it. So I'm really glad that this organization is kind of getting back to the roots, and I'm looking forward to seeing and hearing today's excellent panel. Thanks for having me, and let's work together to support our veterans.
Thank you, Congressman Stanton. Yes, he has been there with us from day one with the Veterans Reach to Teach program, getting veterans that served our country to now serve our classrooms. Whether we were giving away backpacks in the largest backpack giveaway in the state, Congressman's right there passing out backpacks with us, always there for us, so thank you again. Now to our panel of distinguished veterans and veteran organization leaders. Panelists, I will introduce you to our audience before I bring up our moderator. Just kind of please wave your hand for the audience and production crew as I introduce you. First, we have Dr. Alyshia Smith, the Medical Center Director, Phoenix VA Healthcare System. Dr. Smith was appointed as the Medical Director on June 21st, 2020, and served as Interim Director since October 28, 2019. Dr. Smith joined the VA healthcare system in September 2015 as the Associate Director for Patient Care Services and Nurse Executive. Dr. Smith earned a Bachelor of Science and Nursing degree from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, a Master's of Science and Doctorate of the Master of Science and Doctor of Nursing practice from the University of Maryland, and a Postmaster Certificate in Business and Healthcare from Johns Hopkins University. She is also a member of the American Organization of Nurse Leaders and the American College of Healthcare Executives. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Alyshia Smith. Our second panelist, Colonel, U.S. Air Force retired, Wanda Wright, Director of the Arizona Department of Veteran Services. Colonel Wanda Wright is the third generation of her family to serve in the United States military. She has 3 decades of military experience and is a 1985 United States Air Force Academy graduate. Colonel Wright holds a BS in Management from the U.S. Air Force Academy, an MBA from Webster University in South Carolina, and an MPA from the University of Arizona, and an MA in Educational Leadership from Arizona State University. Colonel Wright's military decorations and awards include the Legion of Merit, the Meritorious Service Medal with the Oak Leaf Cluster, and the Air Force Commendation Medal. Please join me in welcoming Colonel Wanda Wright. Thank you. Our next panelist, Rear Admiral, U.S. Navy retired, Hal Pittman, and co-chairman of the Arizona Corporate Council on Veteran Affairs. Hal Pittman is the External Communications Director for Arizona Public Service. He is also founder and co-chairman of the Arizona Corporate Council on Veteran Careers. Admiral Pittman led communications for some of the military's most complex operations and serves as an advisor to senior civilians, military officials, and ambassadors. He commanded the Joint Public Affairs Support Element and was a Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense. He was recognized by PR News as the Government Communicator of the Year. Pittman's teams have won numerous public relations industry awards, including Public Relations Society of America, Silver and Bronze Anvils, and the International Association of Business Communications Gold Quill. And Pittman has personally received the Stevie Award as America's Best Corporate Communicator. Please join me in welcoming Rear Admiral Hal Pittman. Thank you. Our next panelist, Chris Norton, Director, Department of Veteran Affairs, Phoenix Regional Office. Chris Norton was appointed Director of the Department of Veteran Affairs, Phoenix Regional Office in June 2016. Mr. Norton is responsible for administering compensation, pension, and veteran readiness benefits for over 560,000 veterans and their families from the state of Arizona. In addition, the Phoenix Regional Office supports a national call center. So please join me in welcoming Director Chris Norton. Our fifth panelist, U.S. Marine Corps and Army National Guard veteran Thomas Winkel. He is the director of the Arizona Coalition for Military Families. Now, the Arizona Coalition for Military Families is a nationally recognized public-private partnership focused on building Arizona's statewide capacity to care, service, and support for veterans, their families, and communities. I was watching CNN just last year, and there was Director Thomas Winkel at the White House with the President as they tackled the subject of suicide prevention. So please know that Director Winkel is representing us at the highest level. Please join me in welcoming Director Thomas Winkel. And our final panelist, U.S. Army veteran Robin Arredondo-Savage, City of Tempe Councilmember. Robin was raised in Tempe and graduated from Arizona State University. She served honorably in the United States Army and has turned that experience into a strong advocacy for veterans by leading the way for Tempe to become the first veteran supportive city in the state, developing Valor on 8th, the Veterans Family Housing Project in Arizona, and establishing the Tempe Veterans Commission. Robin is on her third term on the Tempe City Council. She is chair of the National League of Cities Human Development Committee and a member of the NLC Board of Directors. Prior to her time on the City Council, she served on the Tempe Union High School District Governing Board for 8 years, including 2 years as president of the board, and was past board chair of the Tempe Chamber of Commerce. She's also a partner in a small business. So please join me in welcoming Robin Arredondo-Savage.
He's smiling.
Definitely want to thank you all for being here. And notes disappeared. Well, if I can find my notes, we're going to bring up Glenn Hamber. Here we are. And now, I get the distinct honor to formally introduce our moderator for today. Mr. Glenn Hammer is the president and CEO of the Arizona Chamber of Commerce and Industry. With over a decade plus of leadership at the Chamber, he serves as chair of the United States Chamber of Commerce's Committee of 100, where he continues to represent the Arizona business community on the national stage. So please join me in welcoming our moderator, Mr. Glenn Hammer.
Thank you, Ron, and let me first say that what a beautiful way to start the event honoring veterans and Veterans Day with your beautiful rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner. And I'm with Mayor Woods. If I sang, I would clear this place out pretty quickly. I want to thank also my good friend A.P. Powell. I want to thank Aaron Baer for what they've put together with the Bridge Forum and with today's focus on veterans issues. And Mayor Woods, all of your comments really struck home, and it's always great to be back in Tempe, where I went to law school and just, I believe, barely graduated. And Congressman, I did graduate though. Congressman Stanton, you spoke beautifully about the importance of working together. The election came, it went, and we're still a divided nation. And I want to just thank you throughout your career in public service as council member, as a mayor, and as a member of Congress, for doing the tough work of bringing together both sides of the aisle to get important things through, like USMCA. And I will tell you, I'm going to make, it's a little bit off subject, but he's going to be the guy that's going to help bridge some of the issues on immigration reform, including Dreamers, which affects some of our men and women who have served in the military. So for the Arizona Chamber of Commerce and Industry, veterans issues are extremely important to us. And I could look at many of the members on this stage as a big reason why. Our veterans, our military is our most, in my opinion, our most important and our most respected institution. And again, at a time where the nation is divided, the leadership that you provide, the example that you set, is important for all of us to bring us together as the United States of America. We have supported a number of efforts. I appreciated the comments also of Supervisor Sellers about the importance of homeless issues for veterans, the importance of employment opportunities for veterans, the importance of dramatically reducing the levels of suicide. All of those things we want to help however we can. I'll also add that we want to make sure, we, as a Chamber of Commerce, we're attracting our veterans to this state. And we will continue to support the elimination of taxes, income taxes, for our veteran community that we're fortunate enough to make Arizona home. And I want to thank Laura Siscomani of our office, who's put together a Veterans Task Force so that we can meet quarterly, hopefully sooner rather than later in person when it's safe to do so, so we can discuss the veterans issues and make sure that the Arizona Chamber, where we're really an advocacy organization, supports these different measures. The way that I'm planning to handle this panel, I'm going to have a set of thoughtfully prepared questions. I didn't prepare them, that's why they're so thoughtful, for each of our panelists. It'll be about 3 or 4 per panelist, and then I will open up 2 or 3 questions where I would love to have the panel discuss, as in each has a little bit of a different role to play. I'm going to start with Dr. Smith, who's the director, as we know, the Phoenix VA healthcare system. My first question, Dr. Smith, is what services does the VA healthcare system provide for veterans?
Well, good morning. Thank you first for the opportunity to be here. And as the director of the Phoenix VA, I just want to say to all of our veterans, thank you all for serving and ensuring that we have the freedoms that we have today. And then I do want to also say to the Marine Corps, today's the Marine Corps' birthday, so happy birthday to the Marines and to Thomas and any others. The Phoenix VA healthcare system offers a number of resources and services. So we offer primary care, we offer health care, so we offer primary care, we offer surgery and specialty care. We have 9 outpatient clinics across the Valley and in Sholo, Globe, and in the West Valley. In addition, we offer social work services, and we also offer comprehensive women's care. And so that's an important area I'd like to focus on, or I'd like to highlight, as our women veterans is our fastest growing population, and we've seen about a 20% growth in our women veterans that are enrolled with us in the last 2 years. In addition, we do have, coming in 2022, we have an outpatient center that is going to open on 32nd Street and Van Buren. And that is a 203,000 square foot state-of-the-art outpatient facility. So that is dedicated to outpatient care for our veterans. So it's dedicated to clinical care, for primary care, mental health care, and it will have a footprint for even expanded telehealth care. And then finally, I'll just say we offer telehealth services, and so veterans are able to receive services from the comfort or convenience of their home or wherever they are. So that is just an example of the myriad of services that we offer.
The telehealth, I would imagine, also in the age of COVID, so important. So that to me is very important that that's being ramped up.
Absolutely, absolutely. This year, we actually were fortunate enough that with COVID, we'd already had a focus on telehealth, but with COVID, we have more than 20,000 of our veterans that have had at least one virtual care encounter, and we expect that that will continue to grow this year for the 100,000 veterans that we serve.
And that's a dramatic increase than what was?
A dramatic increase, and Phoenix happened to be early on one of the national leaders in VHA in the execution of virtual care.
Practically speaking, how does a veteran enroll in the VA healthcare system?
So veterans would need to first apply for VA benefits or healthcare benefits, and there are a number of ways to do that. So they can do that online, they can do it by telephone, or they can do it at one of the medical centers. And then once they are enrolled, they will receive information back in about a week or so, and then they can come in and register. And registration can occur at any of our outpatient clinics at the medical center. And from there, again, they have access to the full range of services that the Phoenix VA healthcare system has to offer.
How about when it comes to mental health services? How are they provided, and how do veterans qualify for treatment?
So mental health, we offer a wide range of mental health services. So they range from general mental health care to therapies, group therapies, individual therapies, even couples therapy. We offer substance abuse and recovery treatment. And so we offer actually same-day services as well. So through either the main facility or our community-based outpatient clinics, I would encourage any veteran. One of the things we really want to focus on is destigmatizing mental health care. And so we want to invite and encourage any veteran who has a mental health care need, or if you're a family member or a caregiver of a veteran and you believe that they would benefit from mental health services, I would encourage you to reach out to or bring the veteran into any of our facilities. And again, there's someone who's there who will be available to provide assistance. The other thing I will say is, in addition to the mental health services that we offer, and we offer 24-hour services through our emergency department. So we have mental health care professionals available in the emergency department 24/7. But I also want to just share the number for the crisis line. And so that number is 1-800-273-8255, and for veterans, press 1. So just want to make sure that anyone who either knows someone who you think may need mental health care, or if you're a veteran and you need mental health care, please to access those services.
Doctor, thank you. And you mentioned, you touched on telehealth and COVID-19, but if you could talk about, as my final question for you, the other aspects that have been impacted, and I'm talking to people who want to be tested, treatment, and even, with the good news that it looks like some sort of vaccine could be around the corner, how all of that may filter through the system.
Sure.
Thank you.
So in preparations for COVID-19, we made a number of decisions, as many, most, if not all of the healthcare systems across the valley had to make some adjustments. What I would share is that it's important for veterans to know you can be tested. So the Phoenix VA offers testing for the actual COVID coronavirus, and we also offer what's called antibody testing, to determine if one has established antibodies based on a previous exposure. And so for our veterans, you really just need to connect with your primary care provider, and they can order the test for you, and you don't even have to come into the medical center directly. So we offer testing in our drive-through. That's one of the things we established very early on. So we offer drive-through or curbside testing for veterans at the main medical center and at some of our community-based outpatient clinics as well.
That's great. I want to also call call out again AP Powell for all of his work in HeroZona on testing during the wave over the summer. I've lost track of time. I don't know where we are right now, but AP Powell and HeroZona really were a model. Doctor, thank you. We'll have a few general questions at the end, but I'm now going to go to Chris Norton, the director of the VA Regional Office. Can you explain to us what services you provide for veterans at the VA Regional Office? Thank you.
I'm on?
You're on.
Yep, great. Well, I would like to first say thank you very much for the invitation to speak with all of you today. It's always an honor. With the COVID affecting our presence in the community, this is my only opportunity to really engage with anybody as far as a Veterans Day event goes. So very, very grateful to be here with you today. Whereas Dr. Smith and her team at the medical center focus on all things health-related, the regional office is a branch of the Veterans Benefits Administration and focus on all things benefits-related. The easiest way to look at that is that we assist our veterans with all things financial. Much of what our mission revolves around is the process of service connection and making sure that we are adequately compensating our veterans for any diseases or injuries that they have incurred during their military service, and making sure that we're providing a monthly financial check for that. We also have a Veterans Readiness and Employment Division, which works to assist our veterans in overcoming any service-connected disabilities and providing any necessary education, training, tools that they may need to get back into the workforce, not with a job, but with a career. We have employment counselors that work with our veterans, identify their employment ambitions and their competencies, and working with the employers throughout the community to make sure that we're placing them in well-paying careers. We have a regional loan center located within our building that oversees the VA home loan program. And that's probably, I think more veterans take advantage of the VA home loan program than anything probably outside of healthcare. We have a national call center here in Phoenix, which operates kind of as a catch-all. The VA is the second largest bureaucracy in the federal government, and it's not always easy for our veterans to navigate. So we have counselors available demanding our 800 number, 1-800-827-1000, that can be a good place to start. If a veteran has questions regarding their benefits, be it healthcare, be it compensation related, be it something peripheral, like what state benefits are there for them, that 800 number is a good place for our veterans to start that process and figure out, we can guide them in the proper direction. In normal times, non-COVID times, we have a public contact operation within our building where a veteran can come in and meet with one of our counselors face-to-face and spend a little bit more time discussing their individual situation than we can provide online up through our 800 number. So right now during COVID, the building is closed, but it's important to note that our operations are continuing. We're fortunate that we're not in an environment where we need to meet with our veterans face-to-face to accomplish our mission. We can do so virtually. Any veterans that would like to speak with one of our public contact counselors can go to our VA website, just Google VA Phoenix Regional Office. That'll take you to our landing page. Right there, smack in the middle of the page, is a button that says Schedule an Appointment. Provide some very basic information. One of our counselors would get back to you and be able to sit down and really provide some in-depth information to address any concerns that our veterans may have.
So I just want to understand, for the best way for people to find out the benefits, is it the website or the 800 number?
We have what we're calling a no wrong door policy. We're trying to meet our veterans where they are. If you want to speak with somebody face to face, that 800 number is a good place to start, or scheduling an appointment is a good place to start. If our veterans are more comfortable with a self-service environment, va.gov is a great place to start as well. You can start the process of filing your claim. You can very much navigate what's available to you. And really, it's kind of a self-service portal for our veterans that are comfortable in that environment. Just want a place to get that information for themselves. One major aspect of our operation that I forgot to mention is we also oversee educational benefits for the Chapter 33 of the COL Act, our Forever GI Bill. That's also, we have representatives in our office that work with our veterans that are attending college or trade school, are interested in using those benefits that they have available to them to to really transition from the military into that civilian career using any educational benefits they've got coming to them.
Well, that's important, particularly given we're at the hometown of the country's most innovative university, Arizona State University, 5 years running. My final question, you did touch a little bit that the VA, there could be a little bit of a bureaucracy. How does the VA's regional office adjudicate claims for pension and disability? Can you maybe explain the process a little bit, please?
Yeah, I would love to, and I think the best place to start in understanding the VA claims process is what we call 3 aspects of service connection. We really need 3 things, and what our office does, we have to have evidence of an well, first let's start with, we compensate for current disabilities, not for injuries, but the residual of those disabilities. So the first thing that we need is evidence of a current disability. And that could be a diagnosis of diabetes for a Vietnam veteran. It could be a nagging knee injury for some of our ground troops. It could be just anything that's currently a situation that requires some type of intervention or has an impact on our veterans' ability to earn a living in the workforce. So we have to have evidence of that current disability. We have to have evidence, the second piece of the puzzle is we have to have evidence of an in-service event. For some of our Vietnam vets, we have what we call presumptive disabilities, direct disabilities. So for some veterans, it's very easy. If we have a Vietnam-era veteran that served either off the shore of Vietnam or within Vietnam and has a number of disabilities, diabetes, prostate cancer, most coronary conditions, we can presumptively assume that that injury is directly the result of herbicide, Agent Orange exposure within Vietnam, and we're done. We don't need anything else. We can grant that disability presumptively. Barring that, if it's say a knee injury, then we have to go back and look at what happened in military service, and can we trace that current knee condition to a knee injury which occurred during service. So we have to work with the military a little bit, acquire those service treatment records, look through there. And then the third piece of the puzzle is we have to show that those 2 aspects are related. With presumption disabilities, we have the science. We know that diabetes per se is related to herbicide exposure. We don't need to worry about putting those 2 things together. If it's a veteran that's only been out of service for a short period of time, if there's knee arthritis and we know that occurred within a year, then we can relatively assume that arthritis began to develop during military service. Where it becomes a little bit more tricky is the more length of time that goes through those 2 things, the more we have to show recurring treatment. If it's say a Vietnam-era veteran that some of our treatment records for our Vietnam guys, especially our in-country guys, they're relatively thin. We don't have a whole lot of treatment, and if there's arthritis that develops 40 years down the road, but there's not much of a record in service, then it becomes a little bit more tricky. We have to show, okay, there was one knee injury in service. Has there been intervening treatment throughout the years that would allow us to show that these things are really related? So that's really much of what our operation resolves around, is trying to, number 1, determine that we have a disability that we can directly relate to military service, and number 2, how disabling is that condition? If it's it can be anything from 0%, meaning that yes, there's an injury, but it does not impact your ability it doesn't impact your career earnings per se, or it could be 100% completely disabling to 100%. So we go through, we generally get an examination to have the veteran come in, meet with an examiner, take a look at, depending on the issue, there's a specific set of criteria that we're looking at contained within what we call our rating schedule, and then we take the medical evidence, we take that rating schedule, and we hope to make the best determination we can to pay that veteran at the maximum rate that we possibly can.
Thank you. A lot of really good information there. Now we're going to turn to my good friend Admiral Hal Pittman, who was mentioned, I believe, the founder and co-chair of the Arizona Corporate Council on Veterans Careers. Before the world came to a little bit of a halt, the number 1 issue for employers, speaking as a chamber guy, was the ability to attract skilled workers and workers with the right temperament to work in these different jobs. And as the Arizona economy, the national economy rebounds, this is coming right back to the top of the chart. So Admiral Pittman has, in my opinion, done more than any human being in the state to just bring the chambers, the business communities, together to understand how valuable veterans are to our workplace needs. So I'm going to first start with, this is a little bit slow-pitch softball for you, but it's an important question nonetheless.
I like slow-pitch softball.
What assets do you believe veterans bring to the table for employers?
Thank you, Glenn. Well, and also tremendous thanks to HeroZona for this fantastic forum and panel to talk about veterans and all the issues that veterans face, the timing, obviously, around Veterans Day, but this bridge forum. So to AP Powell, to Ron, to the rest of the HeroZona team, Aaron, et cetera, thank you so much for, again, having us all here today and helping bring these issues to light. Glenn, with regards to assets veterans bring to any employer, let's think first about our current, post 9/11 veterans. Okay, so it's a voluntary system, and these young men and women join this leadership system that is designed to take average American kids and load them with responsibility and training and education to enable them to do incredible things. If you look at the average enlistee, only about 35% of high school graduates are actually qualified to join the U.S. military, whether it's issues of physical fitness or drug use or criminal records or whatever. So the military is competing for the very same kids that the top colleges and the top companies are competing for. That's the starting point. Then they go into that system that I talked about, and they're inculcated with the core values of the service, things like honor, courage, and commitment, and at the same time, they're receiving extensive technical training, leadership training, and they're having these experiences where at a very young age, they are leading teams in small units and getting this experience. And so they're actually ahead of their peers who maybe, went to college, no disrespect at ASU or wherever, Glenn, and so they're ahead of the ball game. And so they bring these intangibles like execution focus, mission focus, and teamwork to the workforce. And that's a great set of skills for any employer. The challenge is making that connection between that transitioning service member and that company or that nonprofit or that government agency that will employ them.
Well, that leads me to the next question. How can corporations support the employment of veterans?
Yeah, thanks, Glenn. So a lot of corporations have gone on the record to say, we're going to hire X number of veterans, or, and there are various programs that talk about the veteran-friendly employers. Of course, the U.S. Chamber, which you're very familiar with, Glenn, the Hiring Our Heroes program, has a number of tentacles in this space to help corporate America connect with veterans. But I would also tell you that at the same time, research has shown that there's still a bias, even within those companies that profess to be veteran-friendly. If you take a non-veteran hiring manager and they have an option of two similar employees, one of them being a veteran and one of them not, research has shown that they will pick the non-veteran for jobs that deal with other people, emotional intelligence, that require more emotional intelligence in the workspace. But what they're failing to realize is, the need to collaborate in the military environment. That's how you get the mission done. And so veterans or service members who are transitioning to a civilian career, they're brought up collaborating and working together because that's the only way that they can achieve success in a very execution-focused environment. So we need to help companies get rid of that stigma, that systemic bias against veterans in the workforce that still exists even in the so-called veteran-friendly companies. And so that's through training and education. It's through programs such as this. It's through organizations such as the Arizona Corporate Council on Veteran Careers, which I helped found about 4 years ago to bring attention to veterans in the workforce, to have increased workforce development opportunities for veterans across the state of Arizona. And, you know, we've done a number of things, whether it be creating booklets for companies to create their own employee networking groups for veterans, affinity groups, the launch of the Cyber Vets USA program, which is free training, a number of different initiatives, but there's still a lot of work to be done in that space, Glenn. I can't tell you how much work. And the people that are on this stage here, all of them in some way, shape, or form contribute, you know, to that discussion. You know, there's a number of resources that are focused on jobs, but yet at the end of the day, it's really, you know, we know that veterans, when they leave the military, as often as not, they leave that first job that they go to within a year. And so finding that right cultural fit and working through the cultural differences is something that those companies can help with to make that transition a little bit better. Programs like SkillBridge, the SkillBridge internship program that the DoD has put into place are amazing, because what they do is allow service members who are transitioning from active duty to go to a company or an organization up to 6 months before they take off the uniform. And basically, they're free labor. They are an intern. They can intern with that company while the DoD continues to pay their salaries and all their benefits. And it's really the onus is on the commander of their unit to let that individual go. But, you know, and most of them don't get 6 months, but many of them get 2-3 months in the workspace. They get to learn an industry, and that company gets to look at that individual and say, we'd really like to hire them and bring them on. So these are the kinds of programs that industry needs to keep working on to help that transition go smoothly.
I mean, and we're committed to that. We have an industry fellows program that has a veterans focus, and we want to make sure that we're getting veterans as part of that program to meet with I hate to say it, probably the 98-99% of people like me who have not served this country in the military. And I'll just say culturally, as someone who attended a program put on by our U.S. Department of Defense to bring civilian leaders to meet with men and women in all of our 5 service areas, from enlisted to general. The culture is simply remarkable, and the maturity of the young people is far beyond, as a general rule, people who graduate from our institutions of higher education.
But one thing on that point, Glenn, is what I would tell you, and those in this room who have worn the uniform know this. The culture is different in the military, and that's part of the challenge, okay? Because in the corporate sector, in addition to doing your job, you need to look smart, sound smart, and work collegially up and down the chain of command. In the military, that's called fraternization, okay? And it's actually against military regulations. And so we need to teach people to be able, our servicemen and women, we need to teach them to be able to move into that other culture to be able to thrive.
I think my final question right now is, you put a lot of effort into licensing reform, as did HeroZona, and part of the issue here is that there were a number of cases, particularly with military spouses, of just being told, forget about any sort of cultural bias. We're not going to hire you because you may be gone in a year or two, and it's just not worth going through all of that effort. The licensing reform that Arizona Governor Ducey and the legislature, with your help, led the way on seems to be spreading like wildfire across blue states, purple states, orange states, whatever, you know. Could you talk a little bit about the importance of that, particularly for the military spouses that could have unemployment rates well over 15%, which higher, it's like Great Depression levels.
So we're talking about veterans here, but military spouses are in an even worse situation with regards to employment. So, you know, it truly is a depression, as Glenn has said in public, when you look at the hiring numbers and employment numbers for military spouses. First of all, they're going to travel with their service member from location to location. And when employers learn that they're a military spouse, they're reticent to hire them because well, you'll be gone in 18 months or 2 years, and I train you, and then you move on. One of the issues that's been a barrier has been occupational licensing. You know, when individuals move from state to state, they have to recertify in the new state in whatever occupation they have, whether it's be a hairdresser or even a florist or whatever, teachers, nurses, healthcare providers, et cetera. And so, you know, the vast number of occupations require some type of licensing. And Governor Ducey, with a help of a collaborative group of folks, including the chamber, including nonprofit organizations, was able to champion a bill to eliminate universal occupational licensing requirements for the state of Arizona. And not only, so now what happens is when those individuals transfer as a military spouse with their service member from, say, Massachusetts to the state of Arizona, to Luke Air Force Base, then if they held a license doing a particular job in another state, and it's a reasonable license and they've done that job for a year successfully with no complaints, they can get relicensed in the state of Arizona without going through an expensive and time-consuming process to do that. And that's a wonderful way to help military spouses and sort of, you know, help those military families, because anybody that knows anything about the military understands that those who wear the uniform are not in it for the money. They're certainly not making that much. And usually those are two wage earners contributing to a single family. So those military spouses actually need that work. And so that's a wonderful thing that Governor Ducey has done in the state of Arizona, but it's also, as Glenn mentioned, spreading to many other states around the country, and it is so much. We had a discussion around this at the Hiring Our Heroes Military Spouse Employment Forum back in 2019, when Glenn and I were there, and I had the opportunity to introduce Governor Ducey to speak to that group. Again, leading the way, Arizona leading the way in that front, and that really is an idea whose time has come.
Thank you for all those thoughtful answers. We're now going to turn to Thomas Winkel, the director of the Arizona Coalition for Military Families, who just does great work on behalf of not just the military families, but the entire state. We'll start with the question of what services does the coalition provide?
Well, thanks, Glenn. I really appreciate being here. I'd like to just extend my sincere appreciation to Ron and AP and Aaron for helping everyone to come together to help celebrate the Marine Corps birthday. I think that's fantastic. I appreciate it. And as my understanding is, we've got the day off tomorrow. So, so this is good. So no, we love all of our branches, but a special shout out to our fellow Marines. So, Glenn, I just want to say, just you know, for some of all the employment stuff that Hal just spoke about, and all the work that Director Wright and myself are doing, and others, we appreciate your efforts, because part of what we are able to do is to advocate for service members and their spouses to be able to stay in Arizona when they exit the service. That is a fantastic thing to be able to do. We can act with really strong confidence that we've got a robust employment sector that is interested in wanting to hire veterans. And so just hats off to you, Glenn. Really appreciate everything you are doing over at the Chamber. So to kind of respond to the question, the coalition does two kind of separate things, but they're both kind of intertwined in a really comprehensive way. And the first is that we're a backbone entity. The Arizona Coalition for Military Families is a backbone entity that helps to facilitate a statewide plan that was created in 2010. It was developed in 2008 and 2009, and then kind of codified by all the powers that be, governor's office and VA and all those good folks, back in 2010, and we've been acting that out. And the plan really is, it's simple enough for a United States Marine to understand it, and that's a good thing. It is to ensure that all service members, veterans, and their families, so really everyone within that tree, right? Because if one person serves, all serve in a family, right? So it's dedicated to making sure that each one of those has the right resource at the right time. The right resource, the right service, the right benefit, whatever it is that that family needs. And the second thing that the coalition does is it operates a program like Be Connected. And Be Connected is a kind of a grand collaboration. It's unseen or unheard of across the rest of the country. And each one of the folks up here are partners of this. It's really quite remarkable. It was founded in 2017 when we launched it. It is a collaboration between some of the key leadership, the Arizona Department of Veterans Services, the VA, the Governor's Office for Youth, Faith, and Families, Tri-West, Access, which is our state Medicaid system, and others, right? And, you know, what it does is it makes the concept of the right time and the right resource possible every single day, no matter where you are in the state.
Could you please explain, there's been some discussion of this already, but if you could please explain the upstream suicide prevention program, please.
I'd be happy to. So Be Connected, as I kind of had introduced here just a second ago, this is a way that, in the end, what its goal is to reduce suicides within Arizona. It was founded on a program that we had done with the Arizona National Guard. They were about 8,000 strength at that time. They had had successive years of increasing suicidality, and it was higher than it had ever been before. And so the Adjutant General, Hugo Salazar, at that time said, you know, Winkel and Chaplain Krupnick, what are we going to do about this? And we said, give us a few minutes and we'll figure it out. We put together a program. We radically changed the way that services were delivered and the concept and mindset within the National Guard towards talking about, I'm feeling like I'm not wanting to be around anymore, those types of things. Being able to ask the brave questions and then being able to have the resources to direct folks to where they need to be in order to resolve the problems that they're struggling with. And we were able to take the suicide rate from its highest rate ever for 3 successive years and drop it to 0 for over 36 months while the program was in participation. That's unheard of. That just does not happen in the suicide prevention world. So what we have done now is taken that small sample model and converted it over to a statewide attempt. The reality is that veterans under 65 are 2 times more likely to die by suicide. If you're over 55, then it's 3 times higher. Female veterans, it's 8 times higher. I could go on. The statistics are not super great. You've heard of 20 a day. We have 20 a month in Arizona. And we believe that we can put a massive dent or end those. That is the belief of each one of the members up here. And for you all folks, Supervisor Sellers, we have a great relationship with Maricopa County. You guys have been an Arizona Veteran Supportive Employer. We work with your human resources folks, and we work with your human services components. I could go down the lane. Is Mayor Lane here? You know, we work with the city of Scottsdale. Obviously, Mayor Woods and
It's right there.
Yeah, Robin Arredondo-Savage. I just said how great your name was. What am I doing? And so, you know, the city of Tempe was the first Arizona Veteran Supportive City. And so we've woven together all these amazing pieces with all these amazing folks to be able to help resolve this issue. And the way that we're doing it is upstream prevention. The reality is there's very, very, very extraordinarily rarely does someone just kind of go, I would like to die by suicide today. It's rare, extraordinarily rare. Most of the time, it's because of things like finances, it's relationships, it's social isolation, it's a sense of belongingness, it's a sense of being a burden to their friends, family, and society. And those are things that collectively we can resolve. We can help those situations. So we have a team of over 40 individuals across the state in every little corner. We go everywhere, hyper rural areas that no one has visited for eons. We're there. And they can assist individuals by phone, or they go directly, because we have a nice phone center that we have with specifically trained individuals that's attached to our crisis intervention network within the state, crisis response network. And Or we have people that will go directly, because there's different ways that people want to engage with someone who's assisting them. Sometimes they want to call on the phone, and sometimes they would really like to have someone be with them, literally in person. And we are continuing to do that while maintaining social distancing and all that good stuff, even now. And essentially, they help everyone navigate systems. So they can walk along with the person and help them resolve things like employment and housing, physical, mental, spiritual, and social health issues, legal matters. I could go on, but if you can think of it, they can help. I'll give you a great example. We had an individual who really needed to go to the surgery with the VA, and yet she couldn't because she had a cat, and the cat was her support system. That was a major part of it. But the cat had diabetes. What do? She can't just leave the cat. She can't leave with just a random friend because there's shots and all sorts of other stuff you have to do, right? Our team was able to find a resource that I don't even know how we found this thing, but they did it because they're amazing. It was the Feline Diabetic Association. It's like 7 people, right, that all just love their cats. But they found him, and they took care of the cat, and the female veteran was able to go get the surgery. They were able to come back, recuperate, and off she went with other things. And we plugged her in with other resources along the way. So that's Be Connected, and that's how that helps to support service members, veterans, and their families.
Thank you for all those answers, and we obviously have a lot of work to do, and those numbers on suicide are jarring, particularly for female service members, so there's going to be a lot. We all have work to do there. I'm going to now turn to Councilmember Arredondo-Savage. The first thing I'm going to start with, and the mayor touched on some of the programs that Tempe provides, so you could expand on that, but I'd like to just dig in a little bit, the role of the Tempe Veterans Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. I just want to take a second, too. I know everybody's already done it, but AP, I really do appreciate the invite. Thank you so much for that. And Ron, awesome job this morning. It's just really great to be here amongst all these individuals to really just bring our resources together and make sure everybody is aware of these great things that are happening. I think sometimes that's the hardest part. So, you know, I really always am happy to talk about what's going on in the city of Tempe, and I will tell you the one thing that I've heard pretty consistently is one of those things is when we provide resources to anybody, any group of individuals, we don't do it by ourselves. It definitely happens in a collaboration, and what we are doing right now within the city of Tempe is very intentional. And the Mayor Woods has been very gracious and generous with me, and I will tell you, what we're doing in the city of Tempe didn't happen by itself. We actually sat together many years ago, me and then Councilmember Woods, and really talked about what a city could do. You know, what can the city do on the ground to really help our residents and their families be successful within our community? And what we did was we brought together a group of stakeholders that talked about finances, talked about education, housing, experts in those fields, and said, where are the gaps? What are the challenges? What can a community do to really reach and help our veterans within the community? So where we were then and where we are today is really night and day, I have to say that. And I'm really grateful for everybody. And I think, Thomas, you were part of that group at the very beginning. And that was many years ago. So we still continue those partnerships. And I think that they've grown over the years and we've evolved. It's an evolution of just a self-reflection within the city of Tempe. And even from the very beginning, one of the things I realized that we weren't even doing was identifying our own veterans. We really didn't know who was working in the city of Tempe that were veterans to begin with. And I think you have to be able to reflect and see and appreciate those people within your organizations. And that was one of the first things that we did, was to ensure that they would get a little bonus when they were hired, make sure that we stayed in touch with them, that they knew that we had resources available to them. And, you know, I always like a little story because I think it kind of hits home. We actually had an individual within the city, a female veteran, and she had been with the city for a while, and I, you know, feel like I have to kind of take a little bit of responsibility for this, but she actually lived in her car. She worked for the city, and she was living in her car, and I feel like we need to take responsibility to ensure that our own individuals, our own veterans, have access to those resources that are available to everybody, and maybe they just don't know it. So, to me, things like that really hit home, things that we really can make a difference on, and veterans are proud. Veterans are very proud and they don't like to ask for help. And I think what we need to do is make sure that we're building those connections all the time. So like I said, it's definitely been an evolution, and we really try to hit the ground running, have a grassroots effort, and build those partnerships first and foremost. You talked about the Veterans Commission, Glenn, and I know you want me to talk about that, but just in case I don't have much time to talk about some of the other things, I want to just take a quick second to say some of the programs that we're doing. I know Mayor Woods mentioned Valor on 8th, which was really a collaborative effort. That wouldn't have happened without the city of Tempe, without Save the Family, Gorman and Company really coming together to make that happen. We were able to utilize a federal grant to be able to make sure that we could ensure that housing would be affordable and create something that was different, an affordable housing for veterans and their families. That had never really been done at that time. So the city of Tempe is never afraid to take chances and do things differently. We love to not only celebrate the veterans within our community, but those that have committed to join the military. We have a program called Community Salutes, and I want to thank Colonel Wright. Wanda's been just a really great supporter and friend and a great guest speaker to ensure that those individuals have committed to joining the service. These are mostly high school kids. They're seniors, and they have made that commitment to join the military, and the city of Tempe wants to honor them and thank them for what they're about to do, the sacrifices them and their families are about to make. And it's really important, I think Thomas mentioned it too, that we want them to come home. When it's over, when their tour is done, we want them to come home to the city of Tempe and have a really successful life and be part of the Tempe community. And that's really important to us too. We love the fact that we were the very first veteran supportive city in the state of Arizona, but that didn't happen by itself. So thank you to the coalition and making sure that we stay on track. And of course, our East Valley Veterans Regional Court, which is really important, which is a service court for those individuals that are veterans, may have gotten themselves in a little bit of trouble, but what it does is actually provides them, connects them with the right services too, so they can be successful in their lives in the years to come. And that's been a really phenomenal program. When I say East Valley Regional, there's actually 7 different cities that have municipal courts in the city of Tempe, and we've graduated since the program inception at almost 1,000 graduates. So I mean, to think about that, where you're actually touching people and helping them, holding their hand and building that relationship, that's when things change. That's when their lives change, and I think it changes our lives too. So, you know, we've been able to do a lot of things, and one of the things that came out of that too, Glenn, you mentioned our Veterans Commission. Our Veterans Commission was one of the things that came out of our task force. Like I said, everything that we've done has been fairly deliberate, just based on what we believe the needs and what the city of Tempe can do. But our Veterans Commission has been really great, and anybody that knows the city of Tempe, we are very engaged, and we like to have our commissions that oversee different things. And the Veterans Commission, when it was created, when Mayor Woods and I said this is something that we need to do, we brought it to the council. It was a different type of commission. And the reason why it was different is because we wanted to make sure we had the right representatives on, sitting around the table, making sure that they were, one, holding us accountable for what we were doing as a city. They were looking for new best practices and things like that within the city, and identifying gaps that maybe, you know, we didn't know existed within their community. And these are the professionals that were able to come together, and I'm so grateful because many of you here are partners within our efforts and things that we're doing. So the Veterans Commission has been very phenomenal in the sense of pushing to make sure that we have more veteran-supported businesses within the city of Tempe, and that is a collaboration with our Tempe Chamber, our Military Affairs, and the coalition, obviously. So they're doing some really great things. They've also partnered with the Tempe Fire Medical Rescue to create an award, a Kyle Breyer Award, to honor a veteran in public service. So the Veterans Commission is really doing a lot of phenomenal things, and we're really proud of them. They haven't been around too long, but they have truly come together and are very excited about ensuring that they have a good pulse of what's happening within our veteran community in the city of Tempe, and ensuring that everybody has a great quality of life. So, thank you, Glenn.
Thank you, and that seems like that's a good model for other cities in Arizona. So my final question right now is just, and you touched on this a little bit, it's just how the city of Tempe interacts with the state and federal government when it comes to these veterans' efforts.
Right, and it's very important. I think that what we've definitely found is we cannot do things alone. I mentioned the federal grant that we were able to receive through Gorman and Company to build Valor on 8th, which is our affordable housing for veterans. And I want to thank the Arizona Department of Veteran Services too, because if it wasn't for them and their grant, we wouldn't be able to get our East Valley Veterans Court off the ground. So we are very excited about the grant that they provided for many years. So everybody could get together and really, I think, make a difference in what's going on within not only the city of Tempe, but other cities together, because what we've learned is it's so important to be able to utilize all the resources that are out there, bring them together, and I think what you can do together is so much more significant. And we also now too have veterans vouchers within the city of Tempe, so we're very excited about that, and they are all been used, and I've been trying to knock on some doors to get some more, so hey, if this is going to help, I'm definitely going to throw that out there, because the city of Tempe is not afraid to make those connections and want to help as many people as we definitely can to ensure that they have housing, which is really essential, I think, within the success of not only our veterans, but with their families too. So we are always looking to partner. It's really important to understand what's out there at the state and federal level, and understand what the challenges are within local government, so we can bring those resources together and really truly make a difference. Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you for all those outstanding answers. Our final panelist, we're going to turn to Colonel Wanda Wright, the outstanding Director of the Arizona Department of Veteran Services. But my first question is, how does ADVS, how is it different from the VA?
Such a great question, but before I do that, thanks, Glenn, for moderating. I really appreciate it. AP and I have been doing Bridge Forum now for about 3 years, partly because I feel like it's important for us to educate those veterans out in Arizona who don't really understand the services and benefits they need. So when he came to me to try to have something like this, I thought it was a brilliant idea, so that hopefully we can talk to veterans who haven't accessed the VA, State Department VA, or any of the other benefits and services that we've talked about today. So that's the primary reason why I'm here today, is to get that message out to our veterans out there. So I appreciate AP and Aaron and HeroZona. We've been a good partner, I think, for the last 3 years, and I really appreciate it. And so, you know, people call us the VA by accident all the time, but I work for Governor Ducey. I'm one of his cabinet members, so we are a state department. But we have many things that are very similar to the VA. We have 2 state veteran homes. They're skilled nursing homes that provide skilled nursing to our veterans who need a place to be because their families can no longer take care of them. We have one in Tucson, which is 120 beds, one in Phoenix that is 200 beds, and we are building 2 new ones, one in Yuma and one in Flagstaff. That is important for both of their economies, and it's important for our veterans who are in those rural areas to have a place where they can go. We also have 3 cemeteries. One cemetery is in Sierra Vista, long-standing cemetery, has been there for a while. In 2016, we have 2 new ones built, one in Marana and one up at Camp Navajo near the National Guard unit up there. And they are wonderful places for our veterans to be laid to rest, as well as their dependents if the veterans so choose to. And it's a wonderful benefit when you want to use it for our veterans. We also have the ability and capacity to do claims for our veterans. And this is a really important thing. The VA regional office under Chris Norton adjudicates claims. And he talked about people kind of doing their own claims. I don't recommend that, and I'm just going to say that out loud. I don't recommend you doing your own claim. We have veteran benefit counselors across the state that can assist you with no cost. It's a free thing, and I just want to say clearly, no one should charge a veteran to file a claim on their behalf. And they will support you in going through the process of getting that nexus that Chris talked about, getting all your medical records together, helping you understand the illness and injury that you had that occurred during your military service, and then bringing that all together with the right paperwork so that you can submit the claim to the VA. I highly recommend when military service members are transitioning outside of the military, day one when they leave, they need to go to the VA and start that work. You don't think you need it, But when you're 60, 70, and 80, and your bones are creaking, and you're wheezing, and maybe you have cancer or diabetes or something terrible, you will wish that you had filed that claim. So please, I plead with all veterans out there, go back and do that if you haven't, and as you're transitioning, do it. We also have a programs portion that deals with minority veterans, women veterans, LGBTQ. We have a program called the Military Family Relief Fund that supports veterans when they're experiencing financial instability due to deployment, and we're a member of Arizona, and they can get up to $20,000 in a lifetime to support any bills they might have based on some issues that they might be experiencing. And particularly if they're waiting for their adjudication for their claim, this is a way to kind of fill that gap before they get that. The other programs that we kind of work on are, as you've all heard, with all of our partners on this panel, we support Vet Court. A way that we've done that is through our Veteran Donation Fund, which is funded by license, Freedom License, Women Veteran License, and the Veteran License. A portion of those funds goes to the Veteran Donation Fund, which supports giving funds or grants to veteran organizations so that they can extend the arm of our work. For instance, furniture for homeless veterans. We have provided funding for a nonprofit that provides furniture for those who are getting into that house for the first time and need furniture and pots and pans and all those kinds of things. All the way up to U of A Law Clinic. We funded that so that they will provide free law assistance to veterans. And I just love the program because it really offers nonprofits the opportunity to do good work for veterans. And I really could go on and on. What I'd really like to say to sum all that up is that we are a network state. We worked really well with all of the collaborators in the veteran ecosystem, from healthcare to services and benefits to employment to our Be Connected program, which provides early intervention for any veteran, family member, coworker, teacher, anyone who wants to call that number, to the cities, to the state as a whole, to provide services and advocacy for our Arizona veterans.
Colonel, what barriers to access for benefits are out there? And I'm even going to expand that a little bit, given that we had a little bit of a discussion on licensing reform. What are some of the barriers that we need to be working to knock down, whether it's for benefits or other types of issues important to veterans?
The biggest issue for some services, in particular medical care or mental health care, is stigma. We just have to recognize that sometimes when people go to war, they get broken. When they come back, they don't necessarily even recognize it in themselves. Family members sometimes see it first, and that becomes a barrier to their health care. And, if I can say anything about that, is that the VA is here for veterans. That's the medical system for veterans. So they should really try to get past that stigma and use a system that is there for them. Some of the other things, occupational licensing obviously knocked down some of the barrier for spousal employment. I think if we can sort of reduce some of the fees, that would reduce some of the barriers for some of the credentialing that they require. I know that the educational systems, we have a program in the state called the Arizona Supportive Campus, and Veteran Supportive Campus, and they work really hard to train their staff and get the right kind of policies in place for veteran students. And anything that we can do to support them in allowing the experience and schooling that military members have received to get credit in the universities for that experience and that schooling. I always think that's a really wonderful thing to do. it's really about education too, and having veterans and their families understanding what is available to them. You know, when they're younger and they're raising their families and they're trying to go to school and they're working to try to, you know, get a profession and get a career, their minds aren't really about, you know, what are these services and benefits that I have access to. And then when they get to the age where they really need them, it's not necessarily too late, but it takes more work to kind of get them to the place that they need to be. And so I would just say start early, right? Start early and understand what you have access to and try to get to that as soon as you can.
Well, I want to really thank our panel for this very thoughtful discussion. I want to thank HeroZona AP Powell. It's a great honor to have a chance to moderate this panel the day before Veterans Day. And thank you for all of our veterans for keeping America safe and allowing us to all pursue our dreams as we all work to civilly come together, join together, and make sure that we remain a great country committed to the betterment of all of our citizens. Thank you to our panels.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hammer. Thank you for doing such a great job moderating such a great group. Before our closing remarks, I want to remind all of our panelists to remain on stage. We'd like to get a group photo of you with our moderator and sponsors and supporters. I would like all of you in the audience, after closing remarks, to please just take a moment to see our production team in the back. Give us your feedback about today's forum. We'd appreciate that. Now, for our closing remarks, I'm honored to bring up our co-founder, Aaron Bear. Aaron is the CEO of Aaron Bear and Company. Aaron Bear and Company. Aaron comes from a family of veterans. He has a bachelor's degree from Indiana Tech, a master's degree from Indiana University, and holds an MBA in global management from Thunderbird School. He's a strategy and innovative consultant, a serial entrepreneur, I mean that, and the co-founder of the HeroZona Foundation. So please join me in welcoming to the podium Mr. Aaron Bear.
Thanks, Ron, for always doing such a great job of emceeing our Bridge Forum. But I wanted to thank everybody here today, especially our panelists, for coming out and sharing such valuable information for our veterans, and all of you that actually came in person, and then those that are online watching. We will be developing each of these segments so that we can share them with the world and make sure that this information gets out, and we'll be announcing that on our Facebook page. We hope this information was informative and will assist our veterans find the services they need now and in the future. I think what we found is there is a plethora of resources that go underutilized by veterans when they really need it in care. And I appreciate all of you for being here and reaching your hearts out to do the things you do every day and serve our veterans, and that serves our country. The Bridge today, this event, the Bridge Forum is in substitute of what is normally the HeroZona Summit, which each year we have an annual event that focuses on entrepreneurship, education, and employment. But today we chose to have this in lieu of that, with the circumstances that we're not going to have a conference right now. We do plan to have that tentatively on Armed Forces Day in May, so look for announcements coming up. A couple other things, on the 23rd, since I know there's some veterans online watching, and if you know of any veteran that does not have a turkey, the HeroZona Foundation and Post 65 American Legion will be giving out, starting at noon, turkeys until we give out all of the turkeys that we have. So if you know of any veterans, make sure that they stop by and obviously give a turkey for themselves and their family. But The Bridge Forum was created to have a dialogue of difficult conversations, and yet they may be uncomfortable, they are important. And both AP and I, have what I'd say is aligned political views, but sometimes we may not agree. What we do is we listen to each other with empathy, and we learn from each other. And I think we both have come to a place where we don't judge and alienate if we do have a different viewpoint and come to a new understanding. And I think is important at this critical time. As mental health is in jeopardy for Americans, social media has driven a narrative that has divided us, yet we must come back to the fact that we're all human and that every man, woman, and child needs to be treated equally. Our nation has opened up some wounds that need to be healed. Regardless of today, we chose this important issue on veterans to celebrate Veterans Day, to remember the 11th month of the 11th day on the 11th hour of World War I, which ended in 1918. A war that took over 16 million soldiers and civilian lives, a war that was known as the Great War. This day was the day that ended a war of all wars. At the time, soldiers came home to fight the Spanish flu until 1920, which infected a third of the world's population, over 500 million people. Actually, 50 million people perished during that Spanish flu, and it over 4 successive waves of that flu. So it is a reminder that history unfortunately repeats itself. And until we learn from it, we need to protect those that are vulnerable, even though it may be our own discomfort to protect those. Nonetheless, over the past week, we have witnessed America become fully engaged in the political process at the highest voting turnout in history. I hope that we continue the engagement with a little more empathy and focus on similarities to get things done and not differences. And we heard that over and over again from the congressman, from Glenn, from different people in here of how important some of these issues are, that we have to get past our partisanship. For veterans have again and again fought for us to have this freedom. The founding fathers obviously created a structure for all of us, and especially with the amendments 13, 14, and 15, we have an opportunity to create equality for every man, woman, and child. At HeroZona, in particular Bridge Forum, we continue to do our part, have important conversations about veterans, law enforcement, the community, mental health, and then we have our HeroZona Summit around veteran education, entrepreneurship, and employment. These are the topics we want to find heroes and we want to find solutions. So we appreciate your time here today. And as a grandson of a veteran who worked his entire life at the VA, I will work to create a better future for my kids because his sacrifices were for his great-grandkids and many more generations to come. Thank you all, and God bless America.
Thank you so much, Aaron. You know you're in a military environment when you start on time and you end on time. So thank all of you. Thanks to all of our panelists. Thanks for all of our guest speakers. Again, happy early Veterans Day. And again, thank you, Aaron, for your comments. On behalf of the HeroZona Foundation, our founders, Alan A.P. Powell and Aaron Bear, I just want to say, let's please take care of each other. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America. That concludes our program. Have a good day. Hey, Jeff, let's get a group photo before everyone leaves on the stage.